Hello students, in this lecture we will do question answer of chapter 1 development. Question number 1. Development of a country can generally be determined by its per capita income, its average literacy level, health status of its people, all of the above. Answer is all of the above because in human development we consider per capita income, educational and health status. So all of the above is correct answer. Question number 2. Which of the following neighboring countries has better performance in terms of human development than India? So answer is second, Sri Lanka. This we can see in table number 1.6. Question number 3. Assume there are 4 families in a country. The average per capita income of these families is rupees 5,000. If the income of 3 families is rupees 4,000, 7,000 and 3,000 respectively, what is the income of the 4th family? So average is equals to total income of all families divided by number of families. So average income is equals to total income of all families upon number of families. Therefore, let X be the income of 4th family. Okay, let X be the income of 4th family. So therefore 4,000 plus 7,000 plus 3,000 plus X divided by, there are 4 families, 4, average is 5,000, it is given in the question, is equals to 7,000 plus 3,000, 10,000 plus 4,000, that is 14,000 plus X divided by 4. This 4 we will multiply, cross multiplication, then it will come 20,000 is equals to 14,000 plus X. Therefore X is equals to 6,000 rupees. So therefore 4th family income is rupees 6,000. Option 4th is correct. Question number 4. What is the main criterion used by the World Bank in classifying different countries? What are the limitations of this criterion, if any? Answer is the World Bank uses per capita income criterion in classifying countries. Per capita income is equals to the total income of the country divided by total population, and this is also called as average income. Limitation of this criterion are: it does not tell us about how income is distributed among the people. And second point is that it ignores other development indicators like health status and educational level of the people. How it does not tell us about the distribution of income? Because this we can understand in the there is a question in the latter part of this section, and where we will understand how income is distributed among the people. And this per capita income criterion does not tell us about the how income is distributed. For example, we will see in the latter part of the question. Question number 5. In what respects is the criterion used by the United Nations Development Programme UNDP for measuring development different from one used by the World Bank? So United Nations Development Programme compares countries based on the per capita income. This is answer. United Nations Development Programme UNDP compares countries based on the per capita income. Okay, This is wrong. This I have written wrong. This should be here. It should be World Bank. Okay. World Bank World Bank compares countries based on the per capita income, and United Nations UNDP compares countries based on the first educational level of the people, health status level of the people, and per capita income. And these three are indicators for Human Development Index. ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स के तीनों कंपोनेंट है इंडेक्स के, ठीक है, एंड यूएनडीपी कंपेयर्स बेस्ड ऑन दीज. Question number 6. Why do we use averages? Are there any limitation to their use? Illustrate with your own examples related to the development. Answer is averages are useful for comparisons. Limitations to their use is that they hide disparities. So in one question we have seen that what are the limitations for the per capita income criterion. So here we can see it. See, country A monthly incomes of the citizen. So citizen 1 has 9,500 income, citizen second have 10,500, 9,800, 10,000 and 10,200. So to find out the average, we will sum all these. Average is equals to total income divided by number of people. Therefore its sum is 1 plus this country A sum will be 10,000, 50,000. We will add all these, then it will be 50,000, and divided by number of people will be 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So their sum will be, the total of country A sum will be 50,000. We will add all these, and it will be equal to 50,000, and 50,000 divided by 5, that is equals to, so average will be 10,000. Average here will be 10,000. Again for country B we have to count the average. So let's sum this 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 500 and plus 48,000. So this all will be 2,000 and plus 48,000, that is equals to 50,000. So again average for A is average for A, country A, and average for country B, average for country B, that is again is equals to 50,000 divided by 5, that is equals to 10,000. Alright, so again average of country B is 10,000. Okay, so even though both the countries have identical average income, see both have average income equal, that is 10,000 and 10,000. Country A is preferred. Why country A is preferred? Because it has more equitable distribution. See, all of the five citizens have equal income, near about equitable income, means something around similar income, 9,500, 10,500, 9,800, 10,000 and 10,200. But while in country B you will see first citizen has just only 500, second also 500, third also 500, fourth also 500, but for fifth one has 48,000. That is unequitable distribution. So averages do not tell us about this disparity, ki how income is being distributed among the people. Therefore, hence, while average income is useful for comparison, it does not tell us how this income is distributed among the people. This is a drawback of this criterion. Question number 7. Kerala with low per capita income has a better human development ranking than Haryana. Hence, per capita income is not a useful criterion at all and should not be used to compare states. Do you agree? Discuss. Answer is indicators used in human development rankings are per capita income, infant mortality rate, literacy rate, net attendance ratio. Yes, all of these are commonly under the three headings. It is per capita human development index consider of three main criterion, number 1, number 2 and number 3. These three are, first one is per capita income, and number 2 is educational status, health and educational level, health status. Number 3 is educational level. Of the people. So these three are the main headings under which, and there are other indicators in each these part. For example, in health status, we take consideration into life expectancy at birth, infant mortality rate, and other indicators in educational levels. For example, literacy rate, net attendance ratio. So main aspects are these three: per capita income, health status, and educational level of the people. Now, Kerala with low per capita income has a better human development ranking than Haryana because it has better infant mortality rate, literacy rate, and net attendance ratio than Haryana. Per capita income is a useful criterion as it is an indicator in human development index. So in question he is saying hence per capita income is not a useful criterion at all. So we will not agree with this statement because per capita income is a component of human development index. Here, see here, per capita income is a component of human development index. Therefore, we will not agree with this statement. Per capita income is not a useful criterion at all because it is a useful criterion in human development index. Question number 8. Find out the present sources of energy that are used by the people of India. What could be the other possibilities 50 years from now? At present, answer is at present the present sources of energy that are used by the people in India are fuel wood, coal, petroleum, crude oil, natural gas, solar energy, hydropower, wind energy, biofuel energy, nuclear energy. Okay, all these form of energy, and there are many more form of energy that are being used in India. Okay, the oil reserve, point number 2, the oil reserves would exhaust in the next 50 years. Therefore, we must focus on alternate sources of energy, like, because these non-renewable, we can also say non-renewable non-renewable resources in place of oil reserves. We can also say that non-renewable resources will exhaust in the future. Therefore, we must focus on alternate sources of energy, like, for example, more advancement in the field of solar energy, hydropower, wind energy, biofuel energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, and the nuclear energy. We can make them strong. Okay, we can make them these segments very strong. Till now, their potential has not been fully exploited. In case of solar energy, wind energy, therefore we have a ample scope to expand our energy sources. Question number 9. Why is the issue of sustainability important for development? Answer is balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Okay, present need fulfill कर लेते हैं and also we conserve them for the future is called as sustainable development. The way we will use it so that we fulfill our needs of the present and also we conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed. Resources to get renewed and are important in the sustainability of development. If resources are not wisely utilized, then sustainability of development will be at risk. The depleting resources of a country will hurdle the progress and sustainability of development in the country. Question number 10. The earth has enough resources to meet the needs of all, but not enough to satisfy the greed of even one person. This statement is similar to the statement said by Mahatma Gandhi, that is, the earth has enough resources to meet everyone's need, but not to satisfy everyone's greed. Okay, so how is this statement relevant to the discussion of development discussed? Answer is you can make this point number 1, this is second, and this is third. Point number 1, resources are vital for any developmental activity, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resources which may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems which hurdles in sustainable development. Point number 2, to maintain the sustainability of development, resources, especially the non-renewable resources, for example, crude oil must be utilized properly. If the essential resources like crude oil reserves get exhausted, then development process will start declining. Point number 3, consequences of resource depletion do not respect national or state boundaries. Our future is linked together. We all are linked. This will ultimately impact the sustainable development at the global level. Initially, we feel that in a particular state there are lack of resources and the development has been halted. For state, initially you can understand like this. Initially it is in the state, then its impact will be shown in the national. Okay, for a nation, and then the whole other countries will be included and its impact will be in the whole world. Lastly, its impact will be in the whole world. So we all are linked together. So sustainability doesn't mean that for a particular state, for a particular district, and it has, in a long term, it has effects and impacts on the whole world. Okay, so therefore it is very important for the careful utilization of the resources. And these resources, you can write these answer on your own because it is given in your geography chapter number 1. If you have read that chapter very nicely, then it is all given there. Okay, these definitions, sustainable development, and how to conserve resources like that. Question number 11. List a few examples of environmental degradation that you may have observed around you. So answer is environmental pollution due to exhaust gases produced by automobiles and industries, waste generation. So point number one is environmental pollution. Point number 2 is waste generation. Point number 3 is climatic change. For example, global warming due to increase of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Point number 5 is soil erosion. 4th is soil erosion. Point number 5 is soil degradation. So point number 4 is soil erosion due to cutting down of trees because of there is a lack of cover on the soil. Soil erosion is fast. Point number 5 is soil degradation due to excessive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. This can be, you have seen in Green Revolution. Green Revolution, it is one of the component of Green Revolution, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. And for the sorry, and for the increased demands of food grains, more chemical fertilizers and pesticides are used. Therefore, soil degradation is increasing. Point number 6 is groundwater pollution. Point number 7 is deforestation due to urbanization and industrialization. Point number 8 is mining activities. Question number 12. For each of the items given in the table 1.6, find out which country is at the top and which is at the bottom. So again, it is based on the Human Development Index, and you must know that human development indicators are these all: gross national income, gross national income, that is per capita income, life expectancy at birth, mean years of schooling of people aged 25 and above, and in the last column it is given world HDI rank of these countries. So here are countries given. So we have to find out which country top and which country is at the bottom. So country at top and country at top and country at bottom, gross national income per capita income के बेस पे देखें तो श्रीलंका tops this column. See here, highest. Again, life expectancy at birth, Sri Lanka is high at the top, on the top, and mean years of schooling, again Sri Lanka is at top, and in HDI rank among these countries Sri Lanka is at the top. On the bottom line we will see that in terms of per capita income, it is Nepal which has the least, 3,457. It is the least, 3,457. Nepal is least in terms of per capita income. In terms of life expectancy at birth, it is Myanmar, 67.1, and for mean years of schooling it is both Myanmar and Nepal. See, both has 5.0 and 5.0, Myanmar and Nepal. And lastly, the rank, HDI rank, in it Pakistan is on the bottom, 154th rank. Okay. Question number 13. The following table shows the proportion of adults that are aged between 15 to 49 years whose body mass index is below normal. Below normal means it is not normal. Below normal is 18.5 is the range. So in the table, it is given those BMI is below normal. So let's see in case of Kerala, Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh. In case of Kerala, there are only 8.5% male whose BMI is below normal, and among female it is 10%. Only 10% female has below normal BMI. While in Madhya Pradesh, there are 28% male population and 28% female population. See this disparity. Therefore, Kerala has high nutritional level among the people. Okay, so answer is the nutritional level of people in Kerala is higher than the nutritional level of people in the Madhya Pradesh, because BMI among the male and female are lower in case of Kerala. They are lower. And in case of Madhya Pradesh, these percentage is higher. Part second of this question is, you can guess why around one fifth of the population in the country are undernourished. They are not getting proper nutrition, even though it is argued, ये argue किया जाता that there is enough food in the country, that India is a surplus in food grains. We know that India is surplus in food grains. Still the 1/5 of the people in the country are undernourished. So can you argue, how can you say that this statement is correct? So describe in your own word. So 1/5 of the population in the country are undernourished, even though it is argued that there is enough food in the country because of the following reason. Why this is happening? Food grains are surplus, still 1/5 of the people are undernourished. So how can this happen? What are the main reason for this? First point is public distribution system. Public distribution system, that is PDS system, are not well developed and lack proper functioning. They are not properly functioning. They are not well developed. Point number 2, due to poverty, poor people are unable to afford nutritious food. Yes, for example, protein diet. Lack of protein diet in the food. Third point is unemployment. Due to unemployment, there is low per capita income of the people. They are not able to buy basic requirements. Of basic requirements. They are not able to fulfill the basic food requirements. Okay. Low per capita income of the people. Point number 5 is lack of health facilities in the rural areas. Okay. And 6th one is inadequate awareness about health and nutrition. So all these are factors that are responsible for the 1/5 of the people in the country are undernourished, even though it is argued that there is enough food in the country. Thank you, students.